So Rick Lance. Rick's voice sounds the complete polar opposite of my voice.
Hmm.
There couldn't be much of a different voice than mine. His voice is absolutely amazing. And while we were on this call earlier, I was joking around. I said, when I walk my dogs up the road every night, people know the names of my dogs. They don't know my name. I said, Rick, people probably know your voice and not necessarily the name of your voice, but man, they must recognize your voice. Rick and I have known each other an extremely long time. I don't know how long, Rick, decade, 2 decades at this point.
Mhm.
And his voice is just amazing. He also uses his voice so well. And Rick, that's the cool thing, right? Lots of people do have good voices. Your voice is exceptional in many regards, but it's how you use your voice. You don't rush when you read. You take your time. You don't read with tension. All the things that we teach at Edge Studio, you have such a great delivery with a great voice. You have such a professional attitude, and that is why you've been doing this full time for so many years. Rick, it's great to see you on Home Studio Show and Tell. Hello. Can you tell everyone a bit about you, just a bit of your background?
Um, Actually started in 1993. Um, the My first commercial voiceover was kind of by accident. Happened to be at the right place at the right time, and just an ad guy came running in. He needed a VO done very quickly for his TV client. It was a beef restaurant here in the South, and I didn't know what I was doing, but they sent me a page through the little guy that ran up to my booth. Of course, there was no internet, so and I thought it was I said, "What is this?" And they said, "Nothing rhymed. I'm reading this sheet," and they says, um, "Nothing rhymes here. Can you play me a tape?" And he said, "No, it's a voiceover, Rick." I said, "What? A voiceover? So you just want me to talk?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." So I spent an hour trying to do that, and the guy walked out happy. It took forever to do this 30-second commercial, and I made $100 more than I thought I would, and he was happy, and that was the beginning of my voiceover career. But
I've heard Rick's voice on lots of things. Even in his newsletter, there's usually a shout out to one particular client, and I just
yeah.
listen to it, and it's just like, it sounds so nice. Lots of documentaries, like you said, lots of commercials,
Hmm.
lots of corporate work.
This is my little room here. It's my humble recording room. Um, Unlike a lot of people, a lot of voice talent, I do not record directly to my computer. I like to use this old digital recording unit that was really built for musicians. I've probably had it 15, maybe 20 years. I replaced the hard drive in it three times, $50 hard drives from eBay. And I've got another one sitting in a box over here in case this goes out. But I'm actually probably going to upgrade to another unit similar to this. But I'm going to raise this light up a little bit. That might be helpful. Um, as you can see, I'm into the Focusrite interfaces. I've got two of them there that I use. There's my computer. I sit down on this stool when I'm recording, so it's no fancy stool. It's just a wooden stool with a padded top. I've had for a lot of years. I've used to use more for songwriters nights as a singer songwriter, and just put it in here. It's quiet. You'll notice the two different microphones mainly that I use. There's my 103 that I use occasionally, but the 416 right here is really what I use the most. And it's it's very directional mic. It's even more quiet than the 103 is, but they're both very adequate for what I'm doing. I have some old outboard gear here. You can see that, and one of the things I use that's probably pretty important that a lot of people don't know maybe uh, that unit that says Furman on it, that black piece of gear, that is a line conditioner, and these line conditioners are meant for uh, calming down all the noise that you get on electrical lines in a typical neighborhood coming into your house. So that helps filter out a lot of that stuff. And I've got all my hardware aimed right into that back of that thing, and so it keeps everything I've got. It will stay running through that thing before it, it ever goes through my board and out to my computer. But as I said, this is a digital board. It's got a little EQ on it. I don't add much EQ to my stuff, um, but when I do send the file USB through the wall to the office down the hall, and able to work on my big computer, I like just working on that computer. I've got a good sound system hooked up to that. Also a microphone, but that's mainly for Zoom calls with clients or whatever that are not from my studio, my recording room here. Um, the like I said, it's very clean, but I think I'm going to be switching over to something I bought about a year ago, also designed for musicians, and I'm going to bring this over here to show you this. It's a little darker over here, but this is the Tascam Model 12. It's a built-in interface. It's got phantom power. It's uh, it's got EQ on it, and it's a digital recorder. And again, you can send files to your computer in the next room, like which is what I'm going to do, or you can put it on a little SIM card, a little flash card. And that's a pretty new unit. I think they came out with this about 4 years ago, and I've tested it out. It works real well. I'm probably going to switch over to that from this just as an upgrade. But it's just been terrific sound for me. Everything I plugged into it has worked the way I wanted it to. And I should tell you that my ear as a musician and singer is really what I've depended on for my whole career, my whole voiceover career. I've just, if it sounds right to me, then it will sound good to my clients. And I've just really depended on my ear, and just figured out how to achieve that.
Rick,
Um,
Rick, a
yeah.
couple of questions. One,
hmm
let me give you a couple of quick questions here. When would you record on your 103 versus your shotgun?
The shotgun is a little hotter mic. That's it's. I like the sound of it. Sometimes it's just a little less intimate than the 103. The 103 is a little more brings out my chest, my rasp a little bit more at times. So for longer narrations, I may use the 103. Um, it just depends on how I feel about it. But I've found that I'm using the Sennheiser more often than not, and it's just it does a lot of things. It's really good for my voice.
Someone is asking what brand the 103 is. That's a Neumann TLM 103 that Rick is using. Rick, the next
Yes.
question I have, if you upgrade to the Tascam, will you use the mic pre's on that or stick with the Focusrite?
No, I'll probably use the interface on the Focusrite. And to tell you the truth, the phantom power that I'm using is not the phantom power in the digital recorder. Um, I've got two. Again, these are old units. Um, George Wyndham wouldn't like them, like if he heard me using these. But these two, I've got two units here. One's hooked up to the 103. One's hooked up to the 416. These are symmetric. I'm sorry, Symmetrics
528 or something?
528E. Yes.
I
And,
loved those.
okay.
I swore by those for years.
Well, I still do, and I've got four of them. I've had a couple repaired. I've got one in the closet here just as a backup unit if I need it. I know a guy in New Jersey who repairs these things, and I just love them. they've been around for so many years, and I don't use half the stuff that's on there, but it's very clean. They've been reliable. They were workhorses back in the day before any other type of recording was done. When it was all
Mhm.
outboard gear. So I just continue to use them. Like I said, I'm old school cool.
Uh,
So
there's quite a few questions here. Let me see what's
uh,
going on.
okay.
Someone wrote, "It brings back dark memories of broadcast days." Yeah, that would make sense. Mojave makes great stuff. Let me see if there are any questions here. Has anyone ever used Mojave? Someone's asking that question. Someone's asking a question about your ring light. Does that mean you do some video with your VO work? Is the why have a ring light here as opposed to in your office where you might have a client call?
Well, because I'm doing a lot of live recording with through Source Connect, and the video is being done through Zoom. So they want if people want to watch me, I figure I need to light my face. So that's really what that's doing, and it's adding a little light in my room because I don't have any overheads here. So that's really the reason that it's there is for these Zoom slash Source Connect sessions. I don't record anything that for broadcast quality, in my office over there. So that's the reason for that ring light.
Okay. Can you offer playback to clients?
Yes, straight through my board. I just start playing. It goes right through my interface, and no problem. I've never had a problem with that. And I know that that's become a problem for some people, and I'm not sure why it hasn't been a problem for me.
Well, keep at it. This is great. Any questions for Rick? So, times you record live with your client, someone is asking. Yes, sounds like you do.
Yes.
Yeah. Question to anyone out there, Andrew and Rick and anyone else in Zoom and in our Zoom right now. What percentage of your recording sessions have a client live with you? What percentage of the time is a client with you, directing you, uh, giving you confirmation, whether it's how to pronounce words, just in participating in any way in your session? Someone is writing 25. We have a 5. Rick, Andrew, what do you guys think?
For me, it's about 40%.
40%. That's higher. That's
Mm,
higher than I think I've ever heard anyone say before. Uh,
yeah. For me, it's
Interesting.
about 25%. And it's kind of replaced the old phone patch system. I have an old phone patch over here that you know, Telos model that a lot of people might recognize. It's
Oh
just an
yeah.
old, and it's just sitting there. And it's kind of become noisy since I moved into the studio 3 years ago when I bought this house. So uh, the Zoom eliminates that, or Meetup sometimes, but usually Zoom. And I encourage that now because people are so comfortable with Zoom, and sometimes they just want to hear. They may not want to see see me, or they may not want to show themselves, which is fine. But I've found out that a lot of people really enjoy watching me, just because they feel like they're able to talk to me a little bit better by seeing my face.
Okay, real one last question because we are just about out of time.
Hmm.
Question to both Andrew and Rick. When you record, are you on headphones or speakers?
I record on headphones. I actually have an old gaming system hooked up to my in my other room there with a big sub underneath. And technically, it colors the sound, which you may not want to do, but I'm so used to hearing it, I know exactly how to set everything before my files go out. So that's what I'm using, and the speakers that are on my uh, right beside my computer. You might have noticed that there were two sets of speakers, and the smaller of the two front speakers are actually the ones I'm using, connected to that sub under my desk. So I don't like to mix through headphones. I don't think that's a good idea.
Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, Andrew and Rick, they have donated their time to show off their studios. So let's give them a big round and thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
Everyone,
David.
have a great month, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
David.
Bye bye.
Thanks, David.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.